Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking more about the legislative branch of the government, how it's organized, and we're going to be talking about party officers and committees. Congress is a political body. This is so for two leading reasons. Congress is the nation's central policy-making body, and Congress is partisan. Reflecting its political character, both houses of Congress are organized along party lines. That's what it means for something to be partisan. If it is organized in a way that there are strict party lines and everybody that's of one party feels this way and everybody that's of another party feels another way, that's what it means for something to be considered partisan. Okay, here's a chart that gives you a way to look at how the different parties have had power in the House and in the Senate. On the left, you're going to see how the House members break down by number, and then on the right it's going to tell you how it breaks down the Senate by party and number. So, as you can see, vastly Democrat and Republican, with only just a sprinkling of independents here and there. So, while there are other political parties, only Democrats and Republicans seem to get elected. The Party Caucus. The Party Caucus is a closed meeting of the members of each party in each house. These meetings are regularly held just before Congress convenes in January and occasionally during a session. In recent years, the Republicans have called their caucus in each house the Party Conference, and the Democrats now use this term in the Senate too. A caucus deals mostly with matters related to party organization, such as the selection of the party's floor leaders and questions of committee membership. It sometimes takes stands on particular bills, but neither party tries to force its members to follow its caucus decisions, nor can it. Okay, we see a political cartoon here. It says a cartoon shows congressional Democrats as cats and President Obama on horseback. What point does the cartoon make about Congress? Well, have you ever heard the old phrase like herding cats? How would it be if you had to herd cats? It's going to be chaotic. They're going to run everywhere, and it's just going to be very difficult. Well, that's what this cartoonist was going for, to show how difficult it was to herd cats. It's going to be impossible. Next to the Speaker, the floor leaders in the House and Senate are the most important officers in Congress. They do not hold official positions in either chamber. Rather, they are party officials, or party officers, picked for their posts by their party colleagues. The floor leaders are legislative strategists. Assisted by paid staff, they try to carry out the decisions of the party's caucuses and steer floor action to the party's benefit. Each of them is also the chief spokesman for his party in his chamber. All of that calls for political skills of a high order. Senator Howard Baker, one of the Senate's most effective floor leaders, most often likened his job to that of herding cats. The floor leader of the party that holds the majority of the seats in each house of Congress is known as the majority leader. The floor leader of that party that holds the minority of seats in each house is called the minority leader. The majority leader is the more powerful in each house, for the obvious reason that the majority party has more seats than the other party has. And the majority leader very largely controls the order of business on the floor in his or her chamber. So the Senate Majority Leader and the Senate Minority Leader are the two people that are most in charge of the Senate. Now, obviously, for obvious reasons, the Majority Leader, who is currently this guy, Chuck Schumer, has more authority than the Minority Leader. The current Minority Leader is a man by the name of Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell was the Majority Leader just a little bit ago, before the November election of 2020. So Chuck Schumer is still new to this position. Now, he is a high-ranking Democrat. He has been in this position before in years past, but this is the first time that he has been the majority leader in a while. So, the two floor leaders in each house are assisted by party whips. The party whip and the minority whip are, in effect, assistant floor leaders. Each of them is chosen at the party caucus, almost always at the floor leader's recommendation. A number of assistant whips serve in the House. Whips serve as a liaison, a two-way link between the party's leadership and its rank-and-file members. The term whip was borrowed from British politics. There it came from the whipper in a fox hunt, the rider who is supposed to keep the hounds bunched in a pack. The whips check with party members and tell how the floor leader, each member, and how many votes can be counted on in any particular matter. The whips also see that all members of the party are present for important votes and that they vote with the party leadership. If a member must be absent for some reason, a whip sees that that member is paired with a member of the other party who will also be absent that day, or who agrees not to vote on certain measures at that day's session. So one non-vote cancels out another. Committee chairs. The bulk of the work of Congress, especially in the House, is really done in committee. Thus, committee chairmen, those members who head the standing committees in each chamber, hold very strategic posts. The chairman of each of these permanent committees is chosen from the majority party by the majority party caucus. Note the title chairman is used here because this is the form historically used in Congress. Although some committees have moved to chair or chairwoman when led by a woman, these men and women are always ranking members of the majority party. Now remember, these always come from the majority party. Although committee chairmen are less powerful now than in years past, they still have a major say in such matters as which bills a committee will consider and in what order and at what length, whether public hearings are to be held, and what witnesses the committee will call. When a committee's bill has been reported or approved for consideration to the floor, the chairman usually manages the debate and tries to steer it to final passage. We shall take a closer look at committees and their chairs in a moment, but first consider the seniority rule. You might be wondering, what is the seniority rule? Well, it is in fact an unwritten custom. It dates from the late 1800s and is still more or less closely followed in both houses today. The seniority rule provides that the most important posts in Congress, in both the formal and the party organizations, will be held by those party members with the longest records of service. Notice that seniority rule does not apply to the presiding officers or to the floor leaders in either chamber. As you've seen, their selection is otherwise provided for. The rule is applied most strictly to the choice of committee chairman. The head of each committee is almost always the longest-serving majority party member of that committee. The rule is also followed quite closely in the selection of those members who chair the several subcommittees into which nearly all the standing committees are divided. Criticism of the seniority rule. Critics of the seniority rule are many, and they do make a strong case. They insist that the seniority system ignores ability, rewards mere length of service, and works to discourage younger members. Its opponents also note that a rule means that a committee head often comes from a safe constituency, a state or district in which one party regularly wins the seat. With no play of fresh and conflicting forces in those places, critics claim the chairman of a committee is often out of touch with current public opinion. Defenders of the seniority rule argue that it ensures that a powerful and experienced member will head each committee. They also say that the rule encourages members to stay on a particular committee and so, over time, gain a wide-ranging knowledge of matters that fall within that committee's jurisdiction. In addition, they note that the rule is fairly easy to apply and that it very nearly eliminates the possibility of fights within the party. The rule's opponents have gained some ground in recent years. Thus, the House Republican Conference, or caucus, now picks several GOP members of the House committees by secret ballot. House Democrats use secret ballots to choose a committee chairman whenever 20% of their caucus requests that procedure. Whatever the arguments against the seniority rule, it is unlikely to be eliminated. Those members with the real power to abolish the rule are also the ones who reap the largest benefits from it. So there is this rule in place that is more of a tradition than anything. But there are a lot of people who are against it because it favors people that have been in Congress longer. So there are people that are against it, but all of the people that have the power to change it are the ones who are on the benefit from it. So they're probably not likely to change it. Standing committees. Do you know the phrase, a division of labor? It means dividing the work to be done, assigning the several parts of the overall task to various members of the group. The House and the Senate are both so large, and their agendas are so crowded with so many different matters, that both chambers must rely on a division of labor. That is to say, much of the work that Congress does is in fact done by committees. Indeed, Representative Clem Miller once described Congress as a collection of committees that come together in a chamber periodically to approve of one another's actions. In 1789, the House and the Senate each adopted the practice of naming a special committee to consider each bill as it was introduced. By 1794, there were more than 300 committees in each chamber. Each house then began to set up permanent panels, or standing communities, to which all similar bills can be sent. The number of these committees has varied over the years. In 2014, there were 20 standing committees in the House and 16 in the Senate. Each House committee has from 10 to as many as 75 members, and each Senate committee has from 14 members to 28. Representatives are normally assigned to 1 or 2 standing committees and senators to 3 or 4. The pivotal role these committees play in the lawmaking process cannot be overstated. Most bills receive their most through consideration in these bodies. Members of both houses regularly respect the decisions and follow the recommendations they make. Thus, the fare of most bills is usually decided in the various standing committees, not on the floor of either house. More than a century ago, Woodrow Wilson described Congress in its committee rooms as Congress at work. And that remains true today. Some panels are more prominent and more influential than others. As you would expect, most members try to win assignments to one of those major panels. The leading committees in the House are the Rules, Ways and Means, Appropriations, Armed Services, Judiciary, Foreign Affairs, and Agriculture committees. In the Senate, senators usually compete for first places on the foreign relations, Appropriations, Finance, Judiciary, Armed Service and Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs committees. Of course, some of the other committees are particularly attractive to some members. Thus, a representative whose district lies wholly within a major city might want to sit on the House Committee on Education and the Workforce. A senator from one of the western states might angle for assignment to the Senate's Committee on Energy and Natural Resources. So there are going to be some of these committees that some members are going to want to get on because the business that they deal with is going to have more to do with their state than another one. Then Chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Richard Myers, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld, and Undersecretary of Defense Dov Zakheim testified before a 2003 Senate Appropriations Committee. At times, each House finds a need for a select committee, sometimes called special committees. They are panels set up for some specific purpose, and most often for a limited time. The Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate appoints the members of these special committees with the advice of the majority and minority leaders. Select committees. The congressional power to investigate is an essential part of the lawmaking function. Congress must decide on the need for new laws and gauge the adequacy of those already on the books. It also must exercise its vital oversight function to ensure that federal agencies are following the laws it has already passed. At times, too, a committee may conduct an investigation of an issue, for example, the threat of domestic terrorism. In order to focus public attention on that matter, most investigations are conducted by standing committees or by their subcommittees. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. I hope everybody's having a great day, and I'll see you again real soon.